Welcome back to my channel. This video is a demonstration of my process in drawing specifically portraits, and so I'm going to jump right into this. The first thing that I do is create a rough sketch, and I start out with a circle, and I always start with the eyes and then work my way down to the nose and the mouth, and I'm just getting general positions of all the features and their distance and everything. And then while I have the rough sketch on a separate layer, the next layer on top will be a more refined version of the sketch. So that's what I'm doing right there, right now. And I'm just going over everything in more detail. And when I'm doing this, I'm actually shaping and molding. It may not even line up with the original sketch, because the original sketch was just a guide so that I can get these details in and shape this into a character, which what I'm doing right now is just a concept character. And this is all based on some references, photo references. I use a lot of references whenever I do portraits like this. So I start with the eyes, then I work my way around, and I always make sure the eyes are in the middle of the head, and making sure that the ear is near the middle, because their head is slightly tilted down. So I have to be aware of the perspective as well. And this next character, what I'm doing is I'm looking at a reference, and I want this character to look sideways. So it's a side profile. And what I do is, the ear is lined up from the brow, the eyebrow, down to the bottom of the nose. So it's how you know how big the ear should be and where to position it. So what I'm doing is slowly putting in all the details. I do the same process. I just go ahead and do a rough sketch so I can have at least, some kind of guide, and then I can put in the full details on the next layer, or I could do it all in one layer. What I can use is like a brush. The brush that I use is typically I set up the brush settings to pressure. And so whenever I make a stroke, it's not a full stroke. It's just whatever pressure I put onto it. It'll either be light or dark, but also you can use the opacity of the brush to help you with that as well. And for this next character, I'm using a reference, of course, and what I'm doing is start with a rough sketch. I always use a circle, and then the eyes are in the middle of the circle. Is where they start, typically. Once you know the basics of the features of the head and where the placement of all the features are, then you'll be able to actually create any characters you want, and maybe even deviate from those norms, the normal skull shape, and you can create your own type of creature or superhero or whatever it is that you want to create. Because characters, they may have a bigger chin, they may have a bigger nose, they may have a small nose, they may have protruding jaw, they may have a narrow head. So you can do all that, but only I recommend that you just go ahead and make sure that you have a basic knowledge of the skull and the placement of all the features, from the eyes to the lips to the nose to the ears, and the shape of the head, and where the chin and how the head and the neck connect. And just learn all those muscles. It's hard to master, but it's really good to get yourself familiar with every aspect of the human anatomy. And that's what I strive to do. And I do mess up. It's just something you got to practice every day. And the more you do it, the more things, come natural, and you start to develop the skill of creating characters. And I always work, one part at a time. If you are pretty rough on the ears, practice that for a couple of times, draw it over and over and over until you're familiar with the shape and the different perspectives of the character's ears, the human ear, and then you can kind of do what you want with it. But yeah, my message is to just continue practicing the human anatomy. Make sure you get familiar with all of it. And if you enjoy my content, please like, subscribe, and ring that notification bell. Comment if you want to. Also, just leave a comment about what you would like to see in my videos, and also give your advice as well. So I'll see you guys later. Peace.